This is The Storied Outdoors, a podcast somewhere between Lewis and Tolkien and Lewis and Clark, finding clarity in the stories we tell and the adventures that shape us. Welcome to The Storied Outdoors. My name is Brad Hill, and I'm joined by my pal Bryan Gill. And man, we are extremely honored today to host Dave Munson. He's the founder and CEO of Saddleback Leather Company, globally recognized brand known for crafting over-engineered leather bags built to last 100 years. His journey began in a small leather shop in Mexico with one goal: make it so tough that his grandkids will fight over it when he's dead. Since then, he's survived jungle treks, car crashes, and even an assassin. Just read about that in your book. All with his trusty leather bag in tow. Today, Dave leads Saddleback Leather along with his wife, Suzette, creating world-class products while giving back through their sister brand, Love 41, and outreach initiatives in Rwanda, Mexico, and Texas, with partnerships including Toyota, which is where you're sitting right now in your own Toyota with your own leather seats, the Texas Rangers, Martin Guitar. Dave continues to build with purpose, using business as a vehicle to love people and lift communities. And man, we are just elated to have you join us for a conversation today, man.
Oh, man, I'm excited to be here. It's an honor that you guys would have me on. I appreciate it.
Dave, I love the concept of kind of what you set out to do, and and a couple of weeks ago, full disclosure here, Brad was coming up. We were going to do a kind of a little hunting excursion over at a quail preserve, and he came up and he said, I told him, I said, I have a gift for you. He said, oh, I have a gift for you too, and he did not tell me anything about this. And so what had happened was he had received from your company 2 of these amazing leather bags as gifts for us. And he brought that up with me. I was floored. Like, I had no idea that that was even in the works. And Brad had been sitting on this thing for about a month. And I actually didn't even give Brad the gift that I was going to give him because
You're so flustered.
Yeah, I was so flustered I forgot to even bring it out. But
A sweater.
Thank you. Look, another tie. No, but man, my goodness, sometimes I put it on my shoulder and walk around campus just to show it off. I work at Samford University and
Feel like a proper professor.
Oh yeah, man, I feel bona fide with this thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were when I was initially speaking with Heather, who is awesome. She said, I was telling her that I have a friend that has one of your bags, and I've admired it for years. And I was like, it's incredible, but it's not something I would probably ever purchase for myself. And she said, I would love to send you one. And I was like, that is so generous. I was like, but I do this podcast with a buddy of mine, and I would feel terrible getting one of those bags and him not getting one. And I'm certainly not asking you to send 2 bags. So would you? We'll take 2 books so we can read the book and interview him. That'd be great. And she says, we'll send you 2 bags. I was like, no way. And I was like, inside, full disclosure, I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. These are really nice. But here comes this box. It's a huge box, Saddleback Leather. I open it up. I'm like, there are 2 of these amazing bags in here. So, man, thank you for your generosity.
Yes, thank you.
What a gift and a treasure for us.
Yeah, Brad, he brought that big old box up here, and I opened it up.
I got your book from.
Yeah, it was your book. I was like, wow, that's awesome. I mean, I was excited with the book, and then I was like, that sure is a big old box for a book. And then underneath it was that leather bag, and yeah. That my kids read the title. It said they'll fight over it when you're gone, and they are already starting to fight over it now. So,
man, what a surprise and a joy, and just extremely generous. And I think it's a real testament to who you guys are to begin with, and it really set the tone for for reading and looking into what you guys do and what you guys are about. I mean, there was a beautiful note written in there on a piece of leather. It's just like little details and wonderful things that just brought just an overwhelming joy to us to receive. And man, we are just again elated to have you on and to receive such a kind gift.
You know, uh, like that you said that you enjoy it, that you like it, that that's better than cash. Not all the time, but
Mm,
you gotta pay the bills too. But it's better than, like, it brings me joy that I'm looking at your faces and your heartfelt like happiness with that. I love that.
mm,
So
Yeah.
thank you for sharing that.
wow.
Amen. Yeah.
Well, that was just an aside. I wanted people to know the heart of you guys, and also the generosity, and just to talk about how beautiful these bags are, just off the bat here. But diving into a little bit about the company, you didn't set out to build a leather company per se, but you were teaching in Mexico, and then saying yes to what was in front of you. Looking back now, how do you discern the difference between risk and obedience, and especially for people who feel stuck and waiting for clarity?
Yeah, there's someone told me that God doesn't direct a ship that's not moving.
Mm,
So people will just sit in their job and sit in their job and sit in their job when they know they should be doing something, they should be trying something, but they're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And so there's not necessarily I mean, risk a little, at least get out of your bubble. Like,
Yeah.
um, I have a lot of nephews and they're like, Uncle Dave, what should I do? I'm sick of my job. I hate my job. What should I do? And I was like, oh, well, you're single. You could go move to another country. You could move to, let's see, Russia. You could move to Mexico. You could move to Brazil. You could and see what happens. But for single people, it's a lot easier to take risks. If you're married, that's not always an easy sell to the wife. But yeah, it's take a little bit of risk. I think if it's harder now, it'll be easier later, and if it's
Mm.
easier now, it'll be harder later.
mm,
And so I think that's really a generally true statement that we can live our lives by. So, but also if there's something so this is cool. So when we want to do something, we just do it. And it's not like risky. We live in a tent right now. We lived in tents for about 10 years, and um, they're super cool tents. They've been on national TV and stuff like that. We're here in North Texas, and I wanted to. I just wanted to. I thought they were really cool. We were in Nairobi. I was interviewing the greatest tent maker in the world. There's a British guy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I must have one of these. They're super cool. So we got four of them, but I just wanted to. And so I feel like when you take steps and you kind of do a little risk like that, and then you go, hey, it worked out. That's cool. And then you do another one and you go, hey, look, I'm still alive and it worked out. And then you do another one and another one. Pretty soon, you just kind of it just kind of works out. Um, and I realize too, this is like, I want my daughter to marry someone like me. I like me. I'm a nice guy. I love God. I'm kind to my wife. I try to serve the family, and but also we try things. And so I'm teaching. I want my daughter. She's dating her first boyfriend, and it's this guy, and he's a good guy, and but she she's looking for someone who values the same things that I do, the same principles in life and stuff.
Mm.
And he's like that. But she was raised with that, so she is going to be used to that. My son, he's 16, and we just saw him off. He's traveling to Africa alone. He's going through Turkey and then down to Zambia to Lusaka, and then he transfers and has to get his visa and all that stuff that goes to Livingston, and then they're crossing into Zimbabwe. But he's all alone right now, on his way to Istanbul. And but but he sees that it always works out. And
Wow.
so I was trying to raise my son to take risks and, calculated risks. Don't be stupid. I was trying to raise him that way. And so your kids will be a lot like you.
Yeah. I heard a friend of mine was telling me about one of his professors at Southern Seminary. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember the professor, but he said every year he took his kids to do something that really scared them, like bungee jumping or like skydiving, like things that like genuinely scared them. And so every year they would do something like that. And he said so when it came time that God asked them to do something scary, they had sort of built up this tolerance to doing things that scared them. I was like, that's pretty cool. I don't know that I'm going to go do that, but that's a pretty cool. I don't know that I'm going to go skydiving or not, but maybe, But it was a cool principle and similar to what you're saying, is you're living a life of, let's try it, and it works out, and I think kids build up that's not that scary to do, and when the Lord does call them to do something perhaps scary, they will have exercised that muscle, if you will.
The faith muscle. They
Yeah.
they see that it worked out, that God keeps taking care of them every time, and they go, "Hey, it's not that scary after all,
Yeah.
because God takes care of us." And of course, then people fall off cliffs and all that stuff too. Um, just don't be stupid.
Yeah.
But
There's a
but
fine line, right, between bravery and stupidity.
Yeah.
um,
What does Hadit say? It's do dangerous things safely. Is that is that
can
so
what it
we
do
says?
don't so we don't necessarily do dangerous things. I mean, we accidentally went to Somalia one time,
Oh, yeah.
the family vacation, but we didn't know it was Somalia, and then we had a whole big thing there.
Yeah.
But when we do, I try not to do stupid things like risk our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll walk with lions or we'll, do things like that. But it's, there are guards on either side of us. So not like, yeah, just not trying to do stunts,
Yeah.
but like, and then you find out it's not really scary after all. So you go to Africa and you're like, ah, I could live here. I mean, I could take my mom and dad here.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like old people, there are women driving here. And
First time I went to Africa, I was a college student. I was working for World Changers, International World Changers, as a leading worship, and so I kind of had in my mind where I was going, this sort of a presupposition about Africa. And we have a layover in Johannesburg. I've never been out of the country. I'm from South Alabama. And we land in Johannesburg. We go to our little hotel. We got a day layover. And we walk to a McDonald's. I get the same thing I've always gotten from McDonald's. And Diamond Rio was playing on the radio. I'm like, hold on a second. I'm in Africa. Where am I again?
Yeah.
I eventually got to where I was thinking about, when we got to Kenya and outside of Nairobi, and it was an incredible experience. But that initial like presupposition of I'm going to Africa, and here we are in this very metropolitan Johannesburg, and it was like very much like home. It was hilarious. So I had this like sort of a fear, or whatever built up in my head, and it wasn't anything like what I thought. It was pretty funny.
well, I think experiencing those things, it takes the fear out of things. And you go,
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, it takes the fear out once you've experienced and you see that God took care of you, and
Yes.
it takes all the fear out.
Hmm. Good
Early,
word.
early in your book, Dave, you reference this story about how your dad would read to you British novels, particularly. I think you listed like C.S. Lewis, and Tolkien style books, fantasy books, but all things that we're really passionate about as storytellers. Can you reflect on that and what part that played in the formation of your own story?
Yeah, yeah. The Chronicles of Narnia was a big one. When you get your imagination going, and then the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit, and then he would read H. Rider Haggard, uh, Queen Queen Solomon, King Solomon's Mines, and
Oh, cool.
these different the character that Indiana Jones was based off of was Alan Quatermain, and
Yeah.
this British dad studied English literature for his like England literature, which all these guys were. And so you get this imagination in your head when you imagine things, when you especially reading. I think it's really important to read books. And so when you're imagining in your head um, them with the Maasai or the Zulus, and you're traipsing in jungles and risk and fun and adventure, and I think it kind of gives you a vision for the future, and you see it worked out for him, and they risked things, and anyway, it creates imagination and gets that imaginative little spark going of adventure. So he read a lot of those books that everyone kind of wants to be that guy, kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so that I think that really shaped. Um, I was always interested in missions, and so I was a youth pastor for several years, and then I burned out because everyone was mean to me. All the all the deacons and elders were mean to me for breaking everything. So
Always the youth's fault.
yeah, that was and so we yeah, so but I remember laying on the floor in Juarez. I lived in a little for about 3 years, a little $100 a month apartment with my black lab, Blue, and
Yes.
no hot water, just laid there and at night, and I remember thinking, it'd be really cool if I could travel around the world like some of these guys, Alan Quatermain and these guys, and I could take videos of these leather bags and photos and cool stuff and tell stories, and no, but I have to do ministry, and so I can't do work because that's like second class Christian stuff. So
Mm.
Mm.
God was working on me. He's patient, and so still is. And so, but I had all of those books coming back to me, all that adventure, all that cool, what I always dreamed of doing. Um, and he put it in me through my dad reading me those books. And
Nice.
so I'm laying there and I was like, man, too bad I can't do that. And then I started doing it. I traveled over to Eastern Europe in 2005. I was single and I just had my briefcase and my suitcase, leather, of course. And I was taking pictures in cool places and uh, yeah, and then down to Panama. I was like, man, people really like those. And then down to Panama and Costa Rica and oh yeah, really cool bag pictures with the waves and the palm trees and that started and I got a lot of feedback and people were loving these photos and the bags were going flying off the shelf. I couldn't keep them in stock. And I was like, and I
And you
was
guys were selling them on eBay, right? You initially began selling them on eBay, right?
yeah, yeah. I was working with Young Life at the time in El Paso and I was living in Juarez. And but yeah, I had and then I met my wife on MySpace in 2006.
Little throwback right
And
there.
there you go. And at MySpace, our space, and started kissing. And man, boom, we got married just a few months later. And then I had a choice. I was like, I can't do ministry. I got to support this family. And she was pregnant. Like, got married, and then I say 9 months and 15 minutes later, we had a daughter, Sella.
What's her name?
Sella. Her name is
Oh,
Sella.
so my daughter's name is Stella.
Oh, Stella. All right.
Mhm.
That's a
That's
great
right.
name.
That's
People
my
call
grandmother's. That's my grandmother's name.
people call Sella Stella all the time.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
anyway, so yeah, and then I had to make a decision. I was like, well, then we can give to some youth pastors or something. We can help, we can fund ministry until I get back, right with this. I got to take care of my family, and we're selling more bags, and it was growing, and yeah, so it was this time when God was shaping me with my pride, my spiritual pride. I was pretty proud of not having anything, and pretty proud of this humble living situation. And um, anyway, and my mentors were working on me at the time. They're like, "Hey, you know," because I just I looked down my nose at everyone because I was so spiritual and they weren't. It was awful. I was an awful guy.
Mm,
I was really nice and fun and everything, but like in that area, I was terrible.
Mm.
mm.
So,
I love the vulnerability to be that honest, though. Thank you for that.
well, it's true.
Mm.
So,
Dave, I really I resonate with kind of what you're saying about this tension between working outside of ministry and working inside of ministry.
Yeah.
Kind of this quote unquote ministry is only,
Vocational,
yeah,
right?
only found in the church. That type of mentality. And I think about, whenever I was a campus minister for 5 years in Memphis, and when I was leaving, there was a pastor there. He said, "Do you think you'll ever get back in the ministry?" And like, I was going to Sanford University as a Christian university, and I was going to be working with adult populations and faculty and all that. But they were, my response was, I didn't know I was getting out of ministry. It was like this calling never changed. It's just kind of the output changed. The what I was doing changed. And at times when I was in ministry, I was going to the office every day, and I was working with people, working with students. I felt like in some ways I wasn't doing as much ministry as I was when I was in the quote unquote real world, and seeing people who weren't being asked to come to an event or an organization or something like that. Do you feel like your calling to ministry is different, or is it the same, or does it just look different in what you do now?
yeah, that's a great question. So I've talked to a lot of pastors. I spoke at my old school. I went to Multnomah Bible College, and I got to speak there at the school. And I was telling them about how I felt really guilty for getting out of full-time vocational ministry.
Yeah.
And and everyone was like, that's I was like, and there was a spirit of it, like at the school, of like, you're a second-class Christian if you're not doing this.
Hmm.
And I told them we're doing more ministry now outside of work than we are or in our work than we are in um as I was as a youth pastor. And so um yeah, no, the thing about it is uh people go, "Hey, what's God's mission? Um what's my mission? What does God want me to do? What's God's will?" A lot of people ask it, "What's God's will for my life?" Oh, I know what it is that you share the gospel. That's what God's will for you is. Like, that's what his mission is. Are you
Yeah.
on it or are you not on it? And so are you on his mission, or just say yes or no,
Hmm.
but don't
Right.
go in the middle. He's he came to reconcile man and God together. Jesus came for that. And because we're not right with God, and he came to make us right with God. And so we've got to tell them that good story that Jesus died for our sins, he was buried, and on the third day he rose again, and
Mm.
so we could be in heaven with him forever. And
Hmm.
I'm counting on that with my whole heart. That's what I'm counting on, and that's the ministry. So
Hmm.
if I know people in ministry who don't even tell that story, I've been asking, "Hey, do you know what the gospel is?" To ministry people, and they're like, "Well, it's kind of like we're on the same team, you know? I mean, like, I don't know, it's kind of like God loves us and stuff."
Hmm.
And like, oh my gosh, they're not even doing they're talking about all the benefits of what happens when a person puts their faith in God, when they put their faith in what Jesus did for us.
Hmm.
They talk about all the benefits. Oh, you get to go to heaven and all your sins forgiven, and it's a relationship, not a religion, and all these things. But they don't ever share the gospel with people.
Hmm.
And so, are you doing it in your everyday life?
Mm.
My dad always tells a story. When he was young, his best friend was the pastor of the church, and so this missionary came in and he said, "Hey, I want to be a missionary, and would you this church support me?" And they said, "Yeah, well, let's have a seat." And he said, so the pastor said, "Yeah, so you want to go share the gospel with the world, right? You want everyone to get saved." "Yeah, yeah, that's my heart right there." And he said, "So, so he said, so are you, how many people have you shared the gospel with this week? And he goes, oh, well, I've been real busy traveling and, raising support and everything. And he goes, okay, I understand that. How about this month? How many people have you shared the gospel with this month? And he goes, well, my wife was sick and we have the kids and, like been pretty busy and stuff. So no. He goes, how about this year? And the guy just put his head down and he goes, because he knew what was coming next. If you're not even doing it now, what makes
Mm,
you think that you would do it when he gets to a place that's really hard?
Hmm.
And so um, sharing the gospel, that's God's will for us. I looked up every instance in the Bible of God's will, particularly New Testament, and there was like it's God's will to be thankful. It's God's will to be nice to people, but all the rest of them were all about salvation and all about the gospel. I
mhm.
preach the gospel, speak it, proclaim it, and it's really simple. Is
Right.
before they had John 3:16 and the Romans Road and all the illustrations, they were still going on and on about it. Jesus died for our sins. He was buried. On the third day, he rose again. It's 1 Corinthians 15. That's the
That's right.
gospel of Jesus.
Which is the power into salvation. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. So anyway, that's a big deal. So as far as ministry goes, a lot of people, even the pastor of our church, he was sharing the gospel, but he wasn't telling anyone they should.
Hmm.
And I asked him about it. It's like, I've been here a couple of years now, and do you think it's important that we do it? Because I haven't heard it come out of your mouth. And um, and the next Sunday, man, you should have heard it from you guys. You sharing the gospel, you guys, every Sunday after. So
That's
anyway,
good.
so as far as ministry, I know a lot of people who are not in vocational ministry who are doing more ministry than the pastor of their church.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's that's a trap. I think that some people in ministry get to, because you start doing the business of the church, you do the business of the ministry, you do the business of the thing, but then it gets it gets really difficult to do the ministry while you're running a church, while you're running a ministry. Um,
Yeah. The work of the church gets in the way of ministry sometimes. The
mm,
administrative work can get overwhelming too.
I mean, someone's got to do all that crap. That's awful. All paying the bills and project management with the upcoming Valentine's Day banquet and all that stuff that happens. You have to do all of that admin. Man, great for those guys. But like, but and so that's really that enables and supports other people to be more vocal about things.
Yeah.
But also, even if you're that admin person, you're not you're not off the hook there, buddy. You've are you are you sharing with your neighbor like, hey, how's it going, Bob? Nice yard. As you're, coming along Easter, you got big plans for Easter, and oh yeah, well and this the talk chatting, and then yeah, for us, we always read the Easter story. How Jesus died for our sins and he was buried, and on the third day he rose again. It's really important, big deal for us for Easter. So we always read that story. Do y'all read anything? Do you go to church or anything on Easter? And so you just shared that gospel story.
mm,
And
Right.
I'm counting on that with my whole life. And then, all right, y'all have a good weekend. You guys talk to you later. And you just keep up that relationship but at least letting the message be known.
yeah. Wow.
So,
You tell a pretty. I don't know if I want to give away much of it because the book really is like we've really enjoyed. Your book that you released. They'll fight over it when you're dead, which is kind of the tagline for your book, and it's a memoir of you starting this company. And you tell some harrowing stories and adventures. You've had quite some tales happen to you on the journey to starting this company, and a lot of it in Mexico and beyond. But you've had some experiences where you put that to work, like you really put your physical money where your mouth was when it came to the gospel. Even when it involved an assassin. And I don't know how much we want to give away. You want to hear that story? Let's read the book and leave that to foreshadowing. But you've really done well with that. But you've had lots of danger, failure, odd jobs, seasons where nothing looked successful. You weren't sitting in a new Toyota Tundra with seats that you made. You were sitting in an old Toyota with seats that you recovered. Literally, and that's part of it. I did enjoy part of that. A good friend of mine loves, Land Cruisers and all that. And so I was like, man, you got to read this. You'll love this guy's passion for a good old Toyota. And so you fixed up several of those and sold those and flipped a bunch of different cars to make ends meet. What do you think those harder chapters formed in you that success never really could have? If you'd had real success really early.
Yeah, uh, it forms anytime we have a hard time, it forms character. And by the way, in the book, I shared the gospel three clearly in specific times. I
Yeah.
shared so anyone reading the book, and we got audiobook of the year for 2025 for in the memoir category.
Congratulations.
That's
And it was
awesome.
a real blessing. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Did you read it? I hadn't listened to it. I've been reading the actual physical copy.
Yeah, so I read it out loud, and dude, that's a lot of work. It was
It
like
is.
days.
Yeah.
It
It
was
is.
it was brutal. But yeah, so read the book. But the Bible says that like consider it all joy when you go through various trials,
Hmm.
knowing that the testing of your faith, so it's a test of your faith, produces endurance, and when endurance has its perfect result, you'll be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing. And then
Mm.
there are a whole bunch of other things um, that are be thankful in all things, for this is God's will, in Christ Jesus for you. Like be thankful. But then character builds, tough times build character and character hope and all these sort. It just tough times build you. It builds you up, and so and you grow in wisdom when you go through hard times. And I mean everyone does, but you grow in spiritual wisdom too. And so again, if it's easy now, it's going to be harder later. And if it's harder now, it's going to be easier later. And so going through those hard times has really shaped um, the way that I think about business. I'm thinking, what does it really all matter? What am I
Mm.
doing in life?
Yeah.
And what's the purpose of all this? But all of those hard times, one guy stole, man, I've had a few guys. I can't legally talk about it when the FBI got involved. That's kind of a big, I didn't put that in the book,
Yep.
but I
Yep.
got involved and
That got redacted.
that got redacted. And, but I had millions of dollars stolen from me,
Oh,
which how awesome is it that you get that I had millions of dollars to steal? That's amazing. Like so cool.
I'd
And
have to have
nah,
some IOUs if they were stealing millions from me.
that was great. I was like, wow, I didn't think it immediately, but like looking back, like what a blessing. How cool is that? And it wasn't my money anyway.
Oh
It's God's
man.
money. He owns
mm,
everything in the whole world and everything in it. My shoes, my son who just took off to Africa, he's in the air right now, and he owns everything. And so that was his.
wow.
And so when we go through tough times, I see it as character building, and I'm looking past the next, like I'm looking for eternity, not looking at
Mm,
right now.
Hmm.
Yeah, things really suck sometimes, but and you can't get around that, and it's hard. But the other day, this is a good one. The other day, we didn't make it in the book because it happened since then. But I have this new. When I first started the bags, I said my first design. I thought, man, what would Indiana Jones carry?
I loved it.
And I was like, yeah. And I had this bag in my head, so I had this guy make it. I designed it, And but my email address was Dave Munson 007 at hotmail.com. That was my first email address.
Of course it was.
All the other numbers were taken, and so I was like, 007, that's cool. And so I was, dude's a stud, right? James Bond.
Oh yeah.
And everyone likes the guy. So I thought, well, what would James Bond carry? And so we have this rugged, cool, bags, but, durable and all that. But what would Indiana Jones or James Bond that bleeds, what would he carry? kind of veins and toughness, but yet
Yeah.
refined, clean, that
Yeah.
kind of Italian leather. So I had this, worked on it for 15 years, got all the bags finished, got them all made, lined with this beautiful goat skin and leather from Italy. And we made them at our factory in Mexico. And we started a factory in Mexico in 2008. And that's a lot of ministries happening there.
Sure.
Got them all on the truck. We were going to launch them on November 11th. Got them all in the truck, whole semi full. And all of our Christmas stuff, everything, all the stock, everything. The cartel took it all.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh.
The cartel took it all. And when I got up to the border, the driver's probably laying in a ditch somewhere with his throat slit and
Oh.
gas turned off. The truck's gone. So, by the way, so if you see a lot of politicians with my bags,
Oh
you're going to
boy.
go, hey, the cartel gave Christmas presents to everyone,
Oh man.
all of their favorite people.
That'd be wild to see one of those.
But so I was like, so I did my little dance around when I found out. This is a short little dance, like, oh no, that was a lot of money that we were counting on for our Christmas sales.
Yeah.
And then right away I thought, you know what, this sounds familiar. So I said, thank you, God.
Hmm.
Thank you for this. I don't know what you're doing in the lives of these guys. Are they going to look us up? Are they going to sign up for the newsletter? Are they going to get the gospel? Like, I don't know, but thank you for whatever you're doing through this. And,
Wow.
but I learned to be thankful in all things through all of the hard times. And I've failed that so many times.
Yeah, that's that part of Philippians 4:13 that we don't like to talk about.
Yeah, we gloss over that one, don't we? Wow.
Yeah, it's like he's going to help us win this game, but we forget that little part about I've learned to be content in all things, you know.
Yeah. So guess what happened? So 2 days later, I get a call and someone said, hey, guess what? The insurance company is going to pay for 90% of retail price.
Whoa.
Ooh.
So the insurance company just bought a whole entire semi truck of our stuff. It would have taken us a few months to sell. So,
Wow.
wow, God was doing something really great, but I just didn't understand in my limited view of things. But he was
Wow.
really wanting to bless me with this hard time,
That's incredible.
and I missed it. I didn't miss it. I didn't know what it was. So, but I wonder if I would have jumped and complained, God, you don't know what you're doing. I can't believe you let this happen. Don't you know who I am and what I need? And don't you know? And I wonder, would the insurance company have said, yeah, we'll cover cost of goods?
Mm.
Mm.
I don't know, but I'm sure
Amen.
thankful.
That's
Amen to
good.
that. Wow. That's great perspective, but it's hard to come by, isn't it?
Hmm. We had a miscarriage between our two kids,
Mm.
and that's a hard one.
Mm.
And I had no idea. That's brutal. That's a terrible thing.
Mm.
But yesterday I was in church and I was talking to the youth pastor, and I was like, "Hey, so how's the little baby coming along?" And they're like, "Yeah, um,
Yeah.
we lost it."
Mm.
I was like, "Dude, I've been right there with you. I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
And I've said I'm so sorry to so many people who have had miscarriages.
Right.
When I was single, when I hadn't gone through it. But anyway, after the miscarriage, we said, God, we're not thankful for this, but we're thankful for what you're doing through it and what you're going to do with this. But
That's
um,
good.
and so anyway, be thankful in all things. I think it's really, really important.
Dave, you said something just a second ago about your son heading off on his own, and what are some lessons that you've learned as a parent and trusting God with your children? That's one thing that I feel like I have this false sense of security about my children that if I'm in control, they're gonna be okay. But I feel like that's just they're in the Lord's hands from day one. So, what are some lessons that you've learned, and some things that you would tell us as parents of young children?
Um, we went to Africa, took my sister and some employees and stuff, went to Rwanda. We've taken a lot of people to Rwanda, yeah, mainly Rwanda. Probably I don't know, 500 people. And they're always scared about what happens if we die? Well, we go there, and my mother-in-law was like 74 her first when she went, and she was like, "Oh, I, I regret now. I have a new regret in life." She has a million regrets. She's like, "I got a new regret that I haven't gone sooner."
Mm.
And but we got back to find out that the UPS driver died.
Oh no.
The guy who regularly picked up our packages and delivered stuff, and he died. You're the safest you can be if you're where God wants you to be.
Mm.
That's right.
And so, but it's easy to say that, but it's a whole other thing to go, see you, son.
Yeah.
See you, daughter. So it's one thing to know the facts, and it's another thing to feel it in your heart for that. But we've prayed and prayed and prayed for our kids ever since as soon as I found out they were in there in the belly. I would pray to the belly, pray to Suzette's belly, and we just said, God, they're yours.
Mm.
They're yours. But it was easy to say that. Anyone can say that, but
Mm.
it's to yeah. But I feel like that's a big one. But I don't trust. I was like, son, he forgets everything. So, so don't trust him in everything. You guys have kids, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
How old are they?
Mine are 9 and 11.
My daughter's Stella's 15, and my son Liam's 12.
Oh yeah, those are great ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really cool. It gets better every year.
Seems
Mm.
to. Yeah, I've been enjoying it. A
Yeah,
lot of fun.
it gets better every year. But as far as the parenting goes, you know, we've messed up a good amount. Um, so yeah, I've messed up a lot. Even doing the business as a Christian, I've really like been shameful and messed up and done a lot of stuff and sinned and like I don't like it. I don't like to do that. I try not to, but I do. And so to have grace with my kids, or well, I guess to have compassion on them when they do mess up,
Mm.
not be angry. And I always thought it was like, um, I always told, grace is when you receive something that you didn't deserve, like Jesus paid for our sins. We didn't deserve that. You get a Christmas present or just a regular, just a gift. I didn't deserve that. But then and then mercy was when you don't get what you do deserve. And that's a punishment or some sort of thing. He shows mercy. Well, I kind of had it like almost like God's hand was cocked back, ready to slam down for mercy
Mm.
or for justice. But it was cocked back, and he's like, okay, I'm going to hold back this time.
Right.
But really, that mercy word is compassion. Also
Mm.
translated compassion, the same word. And so he's full of compassion. He executes justice. But so with my kids, they would do something wrong, and I go, all right, go in the room. I'm going to spank you. I'll be in there in a little bit. And that's like the worst part in between
Oh,
the
The
spanking.
weight.
the
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah.
So I'll say to him, and then I'd come in there, and every once in a while I go, hey, you know what? You did this. Well, what'd you do wrong? I did this. And okay, well, I've already forgiven you for it, but you do need to get punished. But today I'm going to show you mercy. So you can go.
Hmm.
Like, and they go, what? At first, like, what? You're letting me go? And I go, yeah, God shows me mercy sometimes too. I don't get spanked by God like I should. And so I'm going to show you mercy too. And so you're free to go. And and then the next time they're like, mercy, mercy. You showed me mercy again. No, showed you mercy last time. Um, but yeah, I've really tried to, um, and I messed up so many times and God shows me mercy. Well, he has compassion on me when I'm sinning. And so I feel like I need to do that with them too and try to show them what God's like, by being like that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really great.
I love that the idea too of like when you do mess up, like there is repair, and sometimes like not being so fearful of messing up that you miss the opportunity of repair. And sometimes that's even better, is the repair is better for your kid than if you get it right all the time and your kids don't know what it looks like to mess up, and so sometimes the repair is even better. And I always try to remind myself of that.
My dad said raising kids is like holding a bar of soap, wet bar of soap. If you hold it too tight, you lose it. And if you hold it too loose, you'll lose it.
That's
And
really good.
That's good.
so, he said, Dave, when I first had Sella, when she was a little baby, he said, let me tell you this, don't win every battle because you'll lose the war.
Mm.
Mm.
You let them mess up. You've messed up. I let you mess up. I knew about stuff you did, and I didn't even bring it up. You don't
Mm.
win every battle. You can't just be this hovering police helicopter. You let them win some battles
Yeah,
and don't punish them for every single thing. You lose them.
Mm.
And so, um,
that's a good word.
yeah, so uh, anyway, but I'm not perfect at it. I really love justice.
Mm.
So I am, I think I'm kind of wired that way. I should have been a cop or something.
Well, you were a youth minister, so that's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Can you talk about the title of your book? They'll fight over it when you're dead. Really, the ethos of you guys making things just so good that they last such a long time. It's funny but it's also haunting, right? Because it does involve death. They'll fight over it when you're dead. So we do have an expiration, but you're hoping your bags outlive us. When you think about legacy, what is it you really want people to fight over? Is it the product, the values, or the way people were treated, or something else entirely? I'm interested to unpack that.
Um, you know, well, kind of like, you mean like what would be on my tombstone? Like maybe, or
I guess just the explanation of what are we fighting over when they're dead? What are we really fighting over? Is it just the bag, or is it something more?
yeah, I would, um, I think it's well. So I have two views on things. They'll fight over when you're dead is on the just regular everyday things. I think quality is great. It has all these. I talk about all these benefits to it. If everything you had lasted twice as long, you'd have half as much in the landfill. It's good for the environment. Go on
Sure.
all of the that uh, make beautiful things that people want to fight over. Don't carry junk. Um, make it so that people, whatever you choose, it lasts a long time and all that sort of thing. Um, but it seems to me because that's a great question. I was thinking about that, and um, I'd have to. I don't know. I've struggled with that. Like I want people to say. So I was telling my kids. I said, "Hey, Sella and Cross at different times." I said, when you go stand before God at the judgment seat, and oh, hey, Sella, hey, good to see you. Hey, listen, I got a little something for you. And he reaches into his pocket and he flips a gold coin over there. And she goes, oh, wow, thank you. And he's like, next. Like, that's not what I want for her
Mm.
or him. I want him to say, oh, Cross, hey, Sella, wow, well done. You served me. I'm so proud of you. Listen, I got something for you. All right, boys, back it up. Beep, beep, beep. I want like truckloads of treasure for them.
Mm.
And so what does that look like? And so um I, I want to live my life in a way that they would see it and they would want to do that also. They'd want to share the gospel, the good message.
Yeah.
Um I got to have a lunch with a guy named Zig Ziglar. You remember him?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Most successful man in America,
Yeah.
like 20 years. On polls, national polls. And I was sitting right across the table from him. And I said, there are like six of us. And I said, hey, if you could leave us with any one thing, any one book, all your other books all disappeared, DVDs and everything, cassette tapes, everything disappeared. We had just one book. Uh, Oh, my stomach's growling. Sorry, guys. So if I said, "Oh, by the way, have you ever had dog? Ever eaten dog?"
Probably. I've traveled enough of that. I probably have.
Bryan, you ever had dog?
Not that I know of, but I haven't traveled as much as Brad.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like it and everything, but it makes my stomach growl.
That is that's top shelf dad joke right
That's a
there. Well
great
done, sir.
dad joke.
Oh, just going to a Mexican magic show down in Mexico, and the guy was
Yeah.
doing a disappearing act, and he goes, so I was like sitting in the front row, and he gets up on stage and he goes, "Uno, dos," and then poof, he just disappeared without a trace.
You're giving me great material here.
There you
All
go.
right.
Use those two. So, so I forget what we're talking about.
We got distracted by the growl.
I'm sorry.
But,
yeah,
but,
Zig
but it's
was talking
Ziglar.
about
Zig
one
Ziglar.
book.
So he said, "I'd leave you with this book." He said, "Court your spouse because success starts at home." And then he said, "Number two is encourage everyone." And then he said, "Number three, try to help everyone around you to be as successful as they can possibly be." And he said, "If you do that, you'll be a successful person." But the thing about that was that was all other people focused. All of that was others focused. It wasn't me focused. It was help other people. And so that's when I was looking up the word humble and what it means in the Bible, and it's it's God, you first, me last. It's my family, my wife, my kids, my neighbors, everyone else before me last, you guys first. It's others focused is humble. And then proud is me first, everyone else last.
Hmm.
I'm going to talk about how important I am and everyone at work, not as important. I'm going to be a workaholic and my family's going to suffer, but I'm going to look good. I'm going to me. So to be, and Jesus, the only time he ever described his heart, he said, "It's humble. My heart is humble. I am." And so I thought, um, I thought, well, I think success really starts with, or what I would want is uh, I want to have one day a more humble heart like Jesus had, more other people focused.
Mhm.
A lot of people, a lot of Christians, even pastors, it's a lot of me focused.
Hmm.
A lot of songs are me focused, and God's like, "Man, when do I get a song? It's all about them." And like, and so I think that it's really important as a follower of God that we direct everything to God. And so I want to be outwardly focused to serve my wife. You know what? And I serve her by providing and everything. But like, how often do I rub her feet? How often do I make her coffee? How often do I get up and get her some more milk? How often do I pick up all the trash that the dog tore apart in the yard instead of like act like I didn't see it?
Yeah.
So that she,
Oh, I missed that.
Oh, look at
I
that.
don't know how I didn't wasn't looking. So it's serving, it's being other people focused. I think that's so important um, in life to be others focused, um, like everywhere. And I'm not really good at it, but I try to be. I'm working on it. God's working on me.
Yeah.
That's so countercultural too. I mean, and I think that that's what we as Christians move from selfishness to selflessness, and that's one of the marks of a Christian is that others focused mentality. Yeah, well said. Thank you. We have there's a Brad has referenced this quote before, and we think it's attributed to Martin Luther. It says, "The Christian shoemaker does his duty not by putting little crosses on the shoes, but by making good shoes, because God is interested in good craftsmanship." How have you learned to live your faith honestly in business and making a fine product that will be a legacy without kind of hiding away your faith, you know, amongst your success?
Oh, um, that is an awesome quote. Oh my gosh. I'm hold on. I've got to
I'll
write that
send it.
down.
We'll
I'll
send it
send
to
it
you.
to you.
We'll
You
send it
sent
to
it
you.
to me?
I'll
That
send
was
it to you.
great. How have I never heard that before? That was a great one. Um, so, um, what was the question again? I got so excited about that quote.
So basically, how have you learned to live your faith through your craftsmanship without hiding it behind your success?
I think people who hide what's important to them are weak men.
Hmm.
And so,
There you go.
well, I, period. And it's not like they think it. You just logic it out. It just is, they're weak. They're not confident. They're scared. But here's the thing too. Um, Paul, the Apostle Paul, he asked for prayer one time and he said, "Hey, if you could pray for me that God opens a door for me to share the gospel and that he gives me boldness, and also because he didn't have boldness, that he gives me boldness and that he gives me the words to say. If you could pray for me for those, that he opens the door, that he gives me boldness, and that he gives me the words to say." And I understand not everyone's an extrovert. Um, I could go talk to a tree for like an hour. I'm one of those guys. But like not everyone's wired that way, but pray for the boldness. So I don't hide anything. And so I feel like it's unloving to hide things. It would be wrong to to conceal what's important to me in my life. So I was actually I was with Toyota and they were concerned. They had some questions a couple years before the truck launched, the Toyota Tundra launched. They said, "Hey, we're kind of really concerned about some stuff." And we talked about different things. They said, "We noticed that you are very religious." And I said, "Oh, yeah, I'm glad you noticed because if you didn't, that would mean that I wasn't very religious."
Whew.
So I said, "Yeah, yeah." They said, "Well, we have a lot of customers. We just like to stay neutral. We don't want to take stances politically or on gun control or religion because we have, we just our customers are atheists and Buddhists and like Catholic and Baptist. We have everyone. So if we could just stay neutral on that." And I said, well, and then I started preaching to them. So, and they didn't even know it. And so I said, well, there were 13 of them in the room, some managers and executives, and it was really cool thing. And so I said, here's the deal. I said, I have this really fulfilling life. And I have this really personal relationship with my creator, our creator. And I said, and I have peace and joy even in storms. And it's really cool. And so for me to have like this cure to cancer or something and then like hide it from people, that would be unloving for me to do. And I said, and so for me to hide something like that, that I our relationship would have to end today because I couldn't do that, like ethically.
Hmm.
And so if something means something to me, the people are going to know about it. I'm proud
Mm.
of my wife, my kids, and they're going to know that I have those. I'm not like, oh yeah, that they're dead. They died to me, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and so I said, and all it is this: you don't have anything to worry about. We just celebrated the two government federal holidays. That the government says we're celebrating Christmas, where God loved us so much that He sent His Son to die for us because He loved us that much and wanted us in heaven. So this gift He gave us, now we celebrate with giving gifts to people, and it's representative of the greatest gift we ever received. And I said, and we just read Luke chapter 2 in our newsletter, um, you know, and we just have it for people to be able to read. And so it's just the historical account. And then Easter, when Jesus died for our sins and He was buried, and on the third day He rose again, so that we could be in heaven, so we wouldn't have to pay for our sins. And I tell you guys, I'm counting on that. Like it's a fact. I'm just talking history here. It's
Right.
it's proven history. And so for me to, it's just government holidays. So, and so I just preached the gospel to them. I don't know if you caught that. Jesus died for our sins. He was buried on the third day, rose again.
Yeah.
And that was before John 3:16 and the Romans Road. When the church was exploding with growth, they were sharing the gospel, that good message. And so uh, they all looked around the room at each other, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So,
And here you sit in a Toyota right now as we
yeah, and
record this interview.
I was like, I just preached the gospel to all you birds here, right in this table. And so it's our job to tell the story.
Yeah.
That's all. It's our job to tell the story. If somebody believes it or not, that's not our job. That's God's job. Faith is like a divine spark that He puts in us. Faith is something we receive from God. Believing, I believe that.
Hmm.
And then He puts faith in us. And it's a divine, they call it divine persuasion. And it's not my job. My job
Right.
is to tell the message, not to persuade them. That's God's job.
Yeah, there's an old evangelist guy that I'd heard preach a few times when I used to lead worship. He said, "Well, our job is sales. Our job is advertising, not sales.
It's pretty good.
We just make him known, and he's the one who closes the deal, right?"
Man,
Yeah.
that takes the pressure off too.
Yeah, for sure. Going back, Brian, and Dave, to the Luther's quote about we don't put little crosses on the shoes; we just make really good shoes. I think there has been a propensity to put the Christian fish on something, and people will buy it because it's Christian, not necessarily because it's really quality made. And for us, as our hearts, as we do the podcast, when we set out with this podcast, we didn't want to have a Christian podcast. We just want to have a podcast and live out our faith through these stories and through storytelling and conversations like we're having with you. Whereas, or like our friend Charles Martin, who's an author, he wants to be a really good author that is a Christian, not a Christian author. And so I feel like that resonates with you, as you guys are incredible craftsmen at what you do and what you make, and you're believers, and it's an outpouring of what, we're co-creators, right? And so it's an outpouring of what God has done in you that you do as a maker. And that's what I love about what you guys do, is it is such quality and beauty that I think it reflects who God is and what God has done really well.
Yeah, I tell people, listen, I don't know if you probably noticed, but we're Christians. But don't buy from us for that. Buy from us because we do quality,
Right.
Yes.
and which matches perfectly with the Martin Luther quote. That's why I was so excited, because that's what I tell people all the time. I think if Jesus had a business, he'd probably do leather. It was like the first thing God ever made was leather clothes for Adam and Eve.
There it is.
Paul was a leather tent maker. They made them out of goat skins, and like it was like it's. I think he would do really high quality, but he wouldn't be afraid to love people. He wouldn't be afraid to let people know, and he was bold. And so I don't try to shove it down anyone's throat or anything, but I do share with people what's important to me.
Yeah.
People don't want to follow a coward, Howard the coward. They want to follow someone who's got confidence and someone who takes a stand for things.
Yeah.
So not that I'm even after following things, but I think people are like, finally a man who takes a stand for something. Finally a man who's not embarrassed, who's got the confidence to say, hey, I'm a Christian and I love that stuff. Or I'm a follower of God, and like he made a big deal in my life. Like it's pretty significant. Like he helped my marriage. I think when you do that, God is honored, and he says, don't be ashamed of me or in my get exactly how that goes. Me and my word, and anyone who's ashamed of my gospel, I'll be ashamed of them. I think it'd still go to heaven, but I think it'd be like, oh, you're I don't know how God is going to handle that, but like, oh, here comes Bill.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Oh, man.
Surprised to see you here. So what? Go ahead, Brad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there was one thing there's a couple of questions that I really want us to get to, and then one I just thought of because I'm looking at the cover of your book. In the cover of your book, there's just a beautiful black lab, and he's a big part of your story. How did the Lord use Blue in your life, and what lessons did you learn from you? We're both dog people. Brian's has two chocolate labs,
As you heard earlier.
As you heard earlier, that wasn't your stomach growling. That was Brian's chocolate labs. And then I've got a golden retriever and a German short hair pointer bird dog, and we love dogs. And so I resonated big time with that part of your story and your love for the dog. So what are some lessons that you learned from Blue? And he's even featured on the bag as a big part of what you guys do.
Yeah, he's wearing a sombrero on there.
Yeah, there it is.
So we got
That's
the
amazing.
it's blue. That's our logo. And I was told, "Oh, don't do that. Don't do that." I was like, "Why not? Like, oh, can you give me a good reason?" Like, I want to. So
It's
I'm
my
going to do it.
company. It's my dog. I got to put it on there.
Yeah, man.
So when I got Blue, I said, and I do this with everything. I go, God, out, and I picked him out, and I taken him home, and I said, God, would you get more glory from this dog than any dog ever in all of history? And and I don't know, like, it's free to ask. And so, but I want that for God. That's what I want. And it's according to his will. So I was like, well, let's see what happens with that. And, um, and sure enough, people have written in like that, had people like business people. One guy told me a story. He said, I was in my office. I read your story about Blue, your tribute to your dog. And I just started bawling because 2 years earlier, my dog died and I never really mourned him. And people were walking by my office like, he's just a bunch of
sobbing.
tears. And you're like, what's going on with him? And so we get into God puts us into the lives of people that I never would have expected otherwise when we're authentic and real.
Yeah.
And I shared about my love for my dog and the story and we traveled all together and he wasn't a good conversationalist and I didn't have a radio in my Land Cruiser, my old 72 Land Cruiser, but I had Blue with me and he was just a great companion but I was just praying for that and it really adds a lot to the story and so many people the owner of CrossFit back before he sold it, Greg Glassman, he found us through that story about Blue, and all of that's happened through that with him and all of these CrossFit members, and it's so that story about Blue, and so I see God using that story, using Blue. Which is, anyway, it's just been really, really cool. But I always ask him, I did that with the first bag. I looked around for a leather bag like Indiana Jones would carry, and I couldn't find one. And then so I found the guy, and as I was walking away after I designed the bag and he was going to make it, I said, God, would you help this bag to be the coolest bag ever? And would you get more glory from this bag than any other bag in history? The leather bag. And I mean, it's free to ask, right?
Yeah.
So, same with Blue, same with the rack on my old Land Cruiser and every of my kids. A lot of times your greatest contributions to God's kingdom are your kids. And so I'm,
I love it.
but it was my dog. So I prayed that for it's free to ask and God, it's according to his will. What the Bible says. So there we go.
Wow.
I
I
love
love
it.
that. That's
So much.
He's traveled all around the world.
Oh, Blue?
Yeah.
No, around North America.
Well, his bags.
Oh, his bag. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He's on all the things that you've sent out.
He's in more countries. Yeah, he's everywhere. You're right. You're right. He's traveling everywhere.
Yeah, his story's gone a lot further than his four legs carried him. That's for sure.
Yeah. He's a No, that's been a fantastic part of.
He may be the most well-known black lab ever. Let's just be real. I don't know one more popular personally.
You know what? I think you're right on there. I think he's the most well-known black lab in all of history.
Yeah,
That's great.
that's pretty great. I mean, he's up there with Marley as the yellow labs.
Yeah, yeah, Marley. That's great. You're gonna be hearing that.
That's
I'm gonna,
All
awesome.
right.
that's awesome. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
One thing we've talked about with a lot of our guests, with
It's been like a theme recently, Brian. Have you noticed that?
yeah, it's no coincidence either that these guests are highly successful, but also have a incredible view of hospitality, and you go the extra mile. I've read Unreasonable Hospitality, a fantastic book. But one of the things that you did early on was put little gifts for friendship, like from friendship bracelets to bags of coffee in the briefcases. For Brad and me personally was the handwritten note on a piece of leather. The intent to make customers smile. Can you talk about kind of where that came from and what that looks like today for Saddleback?
Oh yeah, I just thought, well, that's what I would want. So, so I'm gonna do that.
Just the golden
Someone,
rule.
someone told me not to. This guy had been in marketing for a really long time, like in 2008 or so. Friend of mine, he'd been in it for 20 years, had a master's in it. He said, Dave, take that whole blue thing, your dog, off the website. You need to speak in third person. Don't speak in first person. Have that maybe in your about me section or another website, but don't put that on your professional website. And so I was like, I don't think that's a good idea. So,
Hmm.
but uh, thank you for your input there. And oh man, I got distracted again. What's your
That's
question?
all right.
It's
Squirrel.
okay. we were talking about how when you started with the little gifts that
Oh
you
yeah,
had
yeah, yeah.
put in the bags. Like, what do you still do that, or how does that going the extra mile look today?
So the extra mile. So I'll do little videos now and then, or I haven't done them for a few months, but like where we would just pick out 10 people who got a bag or a wallet or something, and we do this little bomb videos. And so it's a little GIF, and I hold up Tom on a little whiteboard, and I kind of wave it, and then I, wave, and they always click on it, always. And it's just a little message saying, "Hey, Dave here. Hey, Tom, listen. Thank you so much for getting that barrister's briefcase. You're gonna love it. And that color, that chestnut color, it's a good one. Anyway, next time you're in from Philadelphia, come on in and say hi. I would love to maybe get you a cup of coffee or something like that. Um, maybe we could sit down, for a
That's
cup of coffee. And so doing that kind of thing, or handwritten notes, or we had an artist working for us. He would draw pretty pictures on the boxes. Um, just real quick with a Sharpie or something. He'd draw some sort
Yeah.
of, but
Those little things are so special, man.
mm-hmm.
and so what I found is when you care about people, and I want them in our lives, I want to be able to speak into their lives if they're like, man, I love these guys. So we think about it's partially, but for business too, I would rather spend money on our customers and time on our customers instead of time on a marketing strategy or marketing campaign,
Yeah, solid.
because your customers are your best source of sales. And so I meet people all the time who go, oh man, I've sold you so many bags you don't even know. Like, I go on, and my whole office has your bags. Everyone, I mean, I give them out as gifts, and you showed them that you cared about them, that they're loved,
Mm.
or they're liked. You share, and uh, and so I say we're a people business, cleverly disguised as a leather bag company.
Yes.
And but I think the plumbers should do that. I think electricians should do that. I think you could say, "How can we pray for you?"
Mm.
Um, we ask our customer service reps, we hire people who love people. And so I say,
Man,
um,
what a wise way to go about it.
and so when they sound real down on the phone, they go, "Hey, what's going on? You sound real down." Well, my mom fell last night and she's not doing well. And, I'm really struggling. And they were calling all the relatives in to say goodbye. And, oh, I am so sorry about that. And can I pray for you?
Hmm.
Mm.
And or they'll check back. Hey, how's your mom? You know, how's your dog doing? Hey, again, when we have time, they'll make notes and they'll check back with people.
Wow.
Wow.
And so that's I think it's really important that we care for people, not just share the gospel, but be kind to them and show that and find out about them and try to encourage them.
I love that. A people business disguised as a leather bag and business.
That's good.
That's solid there. I think that could go a long way in shaping a culture of a business. And when you hire people who care about other people, I mean, you're essentially hiring people who understand the gospel.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
other
And
people focus.
we don't only hire Christians, but we'll hire when in the interview process, we'll ask them, "Hey, so when's the last time you volunteered? Tell me about a time you volunteered." And
Yeah.
if they go, "Yeah, I don't really have time for that. I'm a pretty busy guy," or
Hmm.
oh, but they always a lot of times they'll go, "Oh, well, actually, I work with this handicap organization, and I take or at Mother's Day out, or I go to the old folks' home and play guitar with them because they're lonely and stuff. And you see people going the extra mile, you see them volunteering, you see them caring about other people above themselves, and you go, now that is the kind
Yeah.
of person we want on the team.
Yeah,
I like that. That's so good, Dave.
that's great.
Man. Well, man, you've had a lot of adventures, and man, if folks need to read this book, we're going to link it in the show notes and on our website. I've so enjoyed the story, and I've still got some stuff to get to, but I've perused enough for us to be able to have this conversation. But I am in the midst of reading it, really enjoying it. You've been all over the world. You've had lots of adventures, and we've heard today how a lot of those have shaped you. What's for you? What's your next adventure for the Munson family?
Yeah, so here's this. I was telling my son, I said, "Hey, son, listen, if we go out of business one day and you're like, man, what do I do next?" And you want to start a business, do something where you can at least travel, like where you can write it out as a tax deduction. And so, and so if you're going to do, shoelaces, man, show off your shoelaces on the tops of these mountains, and I mean, like, just go to Machu Picchu and go to up to Mount Kilimanjaro and Base Camp Everest, and I mean, you just go with your shoelaces. And but um, we're doing we're doing um silverback. So we launched some boots because I had these leather boots. They're made in Italy. They're really, really maybe the highest quality ones I know of. And um and they're really, really nice old World War I boots. But
Wow.
we adjusted the toe so it looked better. But it's a orthopedic shape. So I fixed my knees. I had 15 years of knee pain and my hips were kind of uncomfortable at times. Adjust my I had plantar fasciitis and my Achilles tendon and all that stuff hurt. But the knee pain was major and for like 15 years. And I wore these boots for about 4 months and they corrected my feet.
Wow.
And they strengthened them where they're supposed to be, strengthened my arch and all that sort of thing. No, they're really cool. And so we're going to be doing um, a bunch of different shoes and boots. So we have that's the officer's boot, and it's just a leather sole, beautiful, a really cool Italian. I thought Italian leather was just marketing. Dude, the stuff's amazing. Like it lasts longer. I mean, it's like our leather's great, but it's great, great. It's European cows and all that. Just a tighter uh, tighter fiber packet.
Wow.
Wow, that's insane.
Um, but we're going to be doing so to launch them into that world of, they're expensive. To launch them into that world, there's a lot of competition there. So
Yeah,
we
I would say.
we did the first ones over this in Venice. We did them around Italy in front of the photos of and videos in front of like the Colosseum, and because they're made in Italy, and then in front of Michelangelo's David, and then we did them in the canals, over the canals in Venice, and I mean we went over Leaning Tower. We went all out, business trip, of course. We went all out,
Well
and
played. Well played. It's a write off.
yeah. So we're doing the Huntsman next, the Huntsman boots,
Okay.
and they have tread on them. They're great. They're great boots. I designed the sole, the same place, the same factory in Italy that does the Vibram soles. We're having our soles made there, with tread. And so the Huntsman, I need to get them with animals in the distance,
Hmm.
kind of like zoomed in. So have the shoes on rocks, and so getting all kinds of cool animals. And then we're doing the hiker boot, which is higher up the ankle a little bit for more ankle support. And so I need to go hiking in. I want to get
Need
the
to go
Matterhorn.
hiking.
I want to get the
Need it.
Matterhorn in. I want to get the Matterhorn in there, and I want to get like different, different, really iconic looking places. So my son and I will be doing a lot of hiking with those for the photography for the launch, because everyone else just has their boots on a stump in the woods or something, on a chair with an old
You got to
barn.
have the half dome in the background, and
Yep, yep. So we're gonna do all of these really cool uh, photos. We're trying to break into that world as a major player.
Hmm.
yeah,
Um, and then dress
incredible.
shoes. Um, we're doing some more James Bond stuff too, but Indiana Jones stuff too. So we're doing both those, but really high quality. The hiker will be made in England.
Just maybe no encounters with the cartels. Okay, let's
And
dial
that
that
just,
back a little.
yeah,
Dial that back a little bit.
let's not challenge them.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on. So the shoes and boots, uh, our 20th anniversary is coming up in
Wow.
August.
Wow.
We've been married 20 years coming up, then 17 of those happily. And so-
All right.
My
and
my 20th is coming up in August also.
Yeah, it is. I
what
sang at
day?
his wedding.
The 12th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ours is 26th.
Okay. Nice.
That's
Wait,
awesome.
but you
I
sang
sang at his wedding.
Yep.
really?
Brad sang in my wedding.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a while.
You guys go way back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so we're going to probably do South America. Um, so probably I've been wanting to, so probably go in and buy an old Land Cruiser, um,
That tracks.
maybe in Colombia or somewhere like that, and then drive around, spend a month there driving around. The kids will probably come with us, and um, and then we can just ship it back from like Colombia over, um, back, and they're really cheap there. But I thought that'd be a nice trip. We were just talking about it this morning. What do we do for our 20th? But that'll be a marketing trip because we'll be able to do a lot of videos and
Oh,
all
for
kinds of
sure.
really cool. So
Absolutely.
finally can go to Venezuela. I hope we can go by then.
Yeah, I hope so.
Angel Falls is the tallest waterfall in the world, and it's in
That's
Venezuela.
right. That's right. Yeah.
So
Incredible.
yeah. So anyway, we'll see. That's what's next.
Man,
Well,
that's cool. I've got this. I'd be remiss and I'd feel bad if I didn't mention it, but there's this part of what I do at my church is I do missions. I'm kind of oversee our missions work and our partnerships and so forth. And so for the past, I guess, almost 10 years, we've sent teams and I've led teams down to Nicaragua, to a little city called Masatepe, Nicaragua. And
Mm.
we partner with with a group that does some work, and it really revolves around empowerment. How can we equip people and empower people to have the dignity to make a living? We're not giving things away. We don't want to help and our helping hurts. We want to help and partner with them and empower them. And so one of those people is his name is Dom Beto, and Dom Beto is a shoe cobbler. And he made me a pair of leather. You were talking about leather shoes. He made me some leather shoes, and I don't have it here, but he did make me. He made me a little briefcase uh, that he made
Oh,
me
that's great.
for
That's really
years, and I
cool.
carried it around for years, and it's not quite as hefty as yours, but it's a treasure made by his hands, and a sweet, just a wonderful. He loves Jesus and goes all over the mountains of Nicaragua sharing the gospel, and but yeah, so part of reading your book and hearing about your encounters with leathersmiths in Mexico, constantly made me think about my friend Dambeto and the work that they do down in Nicaragua. They partner with an organization called One Collective, which is a sending agency here in the U.S. And they do some cool work, and we helped purchase a farm down there that we hope will eventually serve as a drug and alcohol rehab farm. And anyway, so it's an ongoing partnership and friends, but your leather work and your story really made me think a lot about Don Beto and all those people that we partner with there. But just
Oh
wanted to share
man.
that.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. That's no, I hear about these guys like who just go after it their whole life. Like that's
Yeah,
what they're doing 100%.
yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't do anything. Like a loser Christian. When I hear about people like
Uh,
that.
Yeah, I mean, I think about Don Beto's in his, coming up on his 70s, and he's still going up into the mountains sharing the gospel in Nicaragua.
Yeah,
mm,
that's what my son, he's with this group called Overland Missions right now. Oh, he'll be there. And they work with chiefs and kings. So you have to get kind of their permission first before you go into their people. The different
Yeah,
cities have to, but it's really a good idea. They found out to go to the chief who might have 70,000 people or 200,000 people, and the king might have, anywhere from 500,000 to 16 million people. But you go to the king first or the chief, and some are poor, some are really wealthy, but they say, hey, hey, what? They go throughout history, a lot of like famous rulers always had a man of God by their side. Like Pharaoh had Joseph, Nebuchadnezzar had Daniel, King David, he had Nathan and Samuel, So why don't you have a man of God? You pick a man of God by your side and have him be your chaplain. We'll train him. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. And some of these guys are really poor, even, but they go, yeah, we'll do it. And so then they'll get a chaplain. He'll pick a man of God, the chief does or the king does, and then they'll train him as the chaplain.
wow,
wow.
that's neat.
And that guy reads the Bible to him. They stop doing all the witchcraft. When when the old chief dies, they'll drink his blood from his skull, and they'll do all this sort of all the witchcraft stuff. And now they're having worship services.
Wow.
Wow, that's
It is
cool.
super cool.
That's fascinating.
But man, they're going like where people are like, man, they've never seen a white man.
Right.
They've never seen a vehicle or a light bulb. These
Hmm.
guys go really remote. They're not going super remote on this one. They're still going remote, but these guys go really hard to reach places. And I'm thinking,
What am I
man,
doing?
I don't do anything. They're
Yeah, you
like,
do. Yeah,
Well,
you do.
you do, Dave, and we have been so honored to have this conversation with you. Just thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Yeah.
heart and for doing great work and putting great things into this world.
well, thank you guys. You guys have been really encouraging. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully, someone will start sharing the gospel more
Yeah, I hope
because
so.
that's
Amen to
God's
that.
will for us. God's mission. He's on a mission to grow His kingdom, get more citizens into His kingdom, and His spiritual kingdom, and at the end of the time, in His physical kingdom, He wants more citizens,
Yeah,
and that's what He's all about. What kind of work was Jesus doing? He was doing kingdom work.
that's right.
And he came here to seek and save the lost. And so he said, and then he gave us his spirit and said, here you go. Tag, you're it. Now you guys do it. So you guys go tell the story that Jesus died for our sins and that he was buried and on the third day he rose again. If you believe that if you're counting on that, you're a believer. And so
Mm.
go tell that story to people.
Yeah.
And so I hope that more people get on with God's mission and God's will for their life, which is that. And there are other areas, but they stop being so nice to people, and that they start telling people, because it's really easy to be nice to people, but it's a little uncomfortable sometimes to proclaim the message.
Mm.
So,
Well, man, we have that's the heart of the storytelling that we love and are passionate about on the Storied Outdoors. Is it really rooted in that truth, and that story shapes us, and your story has shaped us, and we've often said that if the only people that listen to this podcast are our children and our grandchildren one day, then it will be a success that they get to hear their dads tell stories and have conversations with people like you, Dave. And they will have heard the gospel multiple times through this conversation, and more people that listen to this will have heard the gospel. And you talk about a story that shapes you. That's a story that has shaped both Bryan and I and you as well. We hope that it's a story that shapes people as they get in. And we hope this conversation inspires people to do that, to get out, to write stories, to tell stories like what we're doing, and to share life and stories in the place we love to call the Storied Outdoors.
That's great. That's great.